Turn your beard into a business with today's special guest, John Jackson. Today's episode is brought to you by Pro Writing Aid. Every word I write needs to be perfect. One typo in an email and I get dozens of replies pointing it out and saying, thought you were an author. That's why I trust Pro Writing Aid. I have every plugin and feature they offer to check my blog posts and when I'm writing offline. No other tool even comes close. Score a lifetime license at servemaster.com/Pro Writing Aid.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
Now, this is something near and dear to me as I've gotten older. Even though I don't have a beard right now, I've gone through a lot of different phases. I've switched from cartridges to safety razors. I'm even thinking about playing around with more and more different things. And my shaving process has become one of my hobbies, like a ritual. I have all these different tools and different shaving blades. And there's a lot more to it than when I was younger. I was like, oh, whatever's on TV, that's what I'm using. And I'm using the cheapest shaving gel I can get at the grocery store. And so in the same way, I've learned that there's so much more to having a beard than just not shaving. I used to just as a kid, I was like, either you shave or you don't shave. And both of me phone it in. And as I've met more and more people who it can become something people are really passionate about as a hobby, and it becomes a really big part of your life. So I'm really interested in when people are able to turn a passion into a business. So I'd love to hear how you got into growing out your beard, if you're just always a beard guy, or if there was a transitional moment, and how you realized I can make this into a business and do something really cool here.
Well, the way I got into it was actually I broke my back in a mountain bike crash in 2011. And then through recovery and rehab, I learned the benefits of natural oils. So through sports therapy, I was taught how to use the oils properly for the muscles and stuff. And because I had all these natural oils lying about the place for a course I was doing at the time, I made hair oil for my wife. She was using an expensive hair oil that you get in the supermarket. And I had facial hair at the time, so I thought maybe this oil will work on my beard as it does for hair, which it did. But beard hair is a lot more coarse, so it worked okay, but it felt a bit oily, so I had to change the recipe up a little bit, change the ratios of the oil, and it worked good for the beard hair. It felt nice and soft, and it kept the skin moisturized underneath. And like I broke my back in a mountain bike crash, and before then I was getting irritation under my chin from the helmet strap. I just thought that was just normal, which it probably was normal, to be honest, but I found the beard oil that I was making, it was all that's 100% natural, and it was soothing the irritated skin underneath. So I thought maybe there is something here, maybe there's a product. So I started playing about with the recipes. I came up with a final one I was happy with, gave it to family and friends who had facial hair. They enjoyed it, and then eventually I made a website, and word of mouth spread, and sales started to come in, and it just started to snowball from there. So I've always had facial hair since I was 15, different variations of it, from goatees to sideburns to short beards. This is the longest it's ever been. And yeah, it's just taken off, man.
Now, you skipped over the part that's really interesting. You went fast, and that's okay. When I dial into the formulation process, like you don't have to tell me your secret recipe, but were you just trying different recipes in the kitchen? And how did you get ideas for ingredients? Like, were you just looking online, or were you playing around with some oils that women were already using or you're using for other parts of your body? Like, how did you start playing with ideas and know what might work and what might not work?
So I had oils from the massage course. So I was like, hemp seed oil was one of the main ones we were using because it's rich in omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, which are good for the skin, good for the hair as well. So that was one I wanted to get in there. There's a lot of negative press with hemp seed because of cannabis and stuff, but the THC content's taken out, and it's actually really beneficial for the skin. It keeps the skin moisturized. So that was one of the main ingredients. Jojoba was another one I was using. Then there was vitamin E. I was using that as well because if you add the vitamin E to the essential oils, it retains the fragrance longer. And then the essential oils are derived from plants as well, so we use them for the fragrance rather than use synthetic oils. I prefer to use natural oils and build up fragrances by mixing 2 or 3 of them together.
One of the challenges with, especially with the formulation, is scaling, right? At a certain point when you're growing, you can't make it all yourself. What was it like, or what's the process like dealing with larger numbers of orders? Because there's always that moment where you go, 10,000 orders have come in. I can't make that many in a month. What are we going to do, right? And I've seen it happen even at larger scale businesses where they start to get the big orders and either they get 3 or 4 months behind or they have to go out to that process. And that can be really challenging because if you work with a co-packer or a larger, like a factory, a lot of those places are making other brands. And so there's the chance of like ingredient cross contamination and things like that. So what was your approach to that part of the process as things started to grow?
Well, as it stands at the moment, I still make all the products, all the beard oil myself. The shampoo and the beard butter, which is a styling product, that is my recipe, but it gets made externally and then sent back to me, and everything gets dispatched from my office, my warehouse. But I still make the beard oil. But you're right in what you're saying. If we get to that scale, I may have to outsource it or take on staff. But at the moment, the beard oil is how I started. That was the very first product I made, so I'm trying to hold on to that as long as possible, making it myself, just so it's got my personal stamp on it as well. But yeah, you're right. I'm not quite at that stage yet where I need to outsource that. But in the make of my time, if the business keeps growing the way it's grown, it may come, or we need to move to bigger premises and bring on more staff, that would be my preferred option, is to keep it in-house.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits to both. A couple of my friends do physical products. It's always the scary part is what if I make a bunch and nobody wants it, or if something goes wrong? Like sometimes these huge companies have to recall like an entire car model. So I always think about those challenges. As you've been building this brand for the last 10 years, what have you noticed are some of the biggest challenges? Because most businesses, especially when you look at like entrepreneurial businesses in the skincare, health, this type of brand, that's where you see a lot of women-led businesses because there are so many more products for women than men when it comes to skincare and hair care and makeup and all of those things. So what are some of the kind of uniquely experiences you have as a man in that space, in kind of the beard space, when people go, wait, you're doing a cosmetic? Like I know there's sometimes a perception that way of, wait, what kind of business are you? What has that experience been like?
Yeah, at the start, it was really, really difficult. Like, we started in 2012, before beard care was really a well-known thing. We started off before the trend, as I keep saying, but it was hard. We went to car shows, motorcycle shows. Well, my background is bike racing, so that's both cycling and motorbikes, rock and roll music, that kind of thing. So that was our audience, and trying to tap into that audience to explain to them, this is actually good for your beard. It is not just a perfume or a cosmetic. It is beneficial. So it was hard. It was really difficult trying to get people to buy into the product. But once they did, they realized the benefits of it and they became customers. Like, I remember being at a show, it was a tattoo show in 2014, 2015 maybe, and there was a group of big bikers came along, like proper bikers, and they were just laughing at me, just saying it was embarrassing, the product. And then they went away. One of their wives came back, bought the product, and then the guys came back over and they were chatting a bit, and we broke the ice a little, but they were chatting. But those guys didn't realize that the wife had came over and bought one. But at this point, I knew a couple of their names. So anyway, a month later, an order came through, and it turns out it was one of the biker guys had tried the product that his wife got him, really enjoyed it, and came back as a customer, and he's still a customer today. So it was hard. It was difficult trying to break that barrier, but once we did, and people understood what the product done and the benefits of it. And we do sponsor athletes as well. We sponsor motorcycle racers, so seeing the brand get put out there, it does hit a wider audience, and it's more accepted now. There's bigger brands doing it, like the mainstream brands are doing beard care now, so it's more acceptable now.
Yeah, it sounds like you created a market, at least in your region, where you could reach and you started building your audience. And then suddenly everyone, larger brands, which have bigger budgets and larger factories, start competing. What's that like? Were they able to start encroaching in your audience, or how do you establish or maintain your beachhead since you worked so hard to build this thing?
Yeah, that's it. I have noticed that. I've seen a lot of customers come and go to the bigger brands that are cheaper products. Like, our products are known as being a little bit more expensive, but it's because I make them myself. I cover my time and my bills and stuff. I don't have the big budget like these corporations do. So yeah, I've lost some customers, but then they've tried the products, realize they're not as good, or maybe a bit greasier, or they cause breakouts and spots, because a lot of like mainstream products, they've got preservatives in them to extend their shelf life, and that, the alcohols and things can actually be detrimental to the skin. So that the customers come back, which is good. But it is a fairly easy product to make, a beard oil, but it is tricky to get it right. So there's a lot of competition online now, which does make it tricky as well. But we were lucky; we built a good community at the start called the Brotherhood. It's a customer community, and we do events together. We have our own event, the Beard and Moustache Championships here in Scotland, and it's a big community we've built, and that keeps customer retention as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so little like education or knowledge for men about skincare and things to do for your skin. Like only after I turned 40 did I start changing. Is there a different way to shave? Or are there things I can do? Because I'm just looking for more hobbies. I was like, oh, maybe this could be one of my hobbies. I can get into like old school shaving and seeing the difference. And then same thing you mentioned, as soon as you switch, you start getting because it's a lot more risky. It's a lot. They call it a safety razor, but it's not as safe. You start cutting yourself all the time and getting razor bumps. And so then I learned about pre-shave. I'm like researching why is this happening. I learned about pre-shave oil, and you start using these other things, and there is a huge difference. Some of the really older products are I find are way better. A lot of the stuff I like to use is not new stuff or big brand. It's stuff that's like, oh, they've been doing it for 100 years the old way and they never changed. And there is a lot of education that you have to get yourself, whether you're trying to get really into shaving or really get into your beard. Because when I grew a really long beard, and I was like, you get to a point maybe 6 weeks in where it really itches. And that's when it's like tough for me to keep it. Like I hit that point where it's like about this far and it's like, it just feels like it's supposed to itch. Like it's like this test of endurance and I couldn't handle it. I would shave it off, regrow it a lot of times. I've never been much longer than that, and then, but that's one of the things that you don't realize, oh, maybe there is a better way than just toughing it through, right? Like that's so much the approach because we're taught that your hair is just dead. And so because we have that thought, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And one of the things I've started doing recently is I've stopped using shampoo like a year ago. I saw a video about it and he was like, you wash off oils and you put oils back in. That's silly. And it's really crazy that works. Like it seems like it shouldn't, right? I stopped using product. I don't do never, like he'd done 3 years. I can't do that, but I maybe wash my hair every 3 months for a dandruff and that's it. Like I have no problems with oil. No one has ever said my hair smells or noticed anything. I'm like, man, I've been a sucker for 25 years. So much stuff out there that you're convinced you need is the wrong stuff and then finding out the right stuff. So what are some of the things like when it comes to taking care of a beard and educating the market? Like what are the things that kind of problems or issues it can solve? Because I think a lot of people's first thought is either they see a bearding competition where you make your beard into a shape and you're using like waxes for that, or it's like, is it a beard perfume? But it's more about the skin under the beard as well, right?
Yeah, the skin under the beard is one of the big issues. If it's dirty and grimy under there, it can cause spots and irritation, but it can affect the follicles, and your beard can essentially fall out. It goes through cycles anyway, like the hair goes through 3 stages. Eventually, it falls out and regenerates. But spots and irritation can cause that to be more frequent. But it could also damage the hair to the point it doesn't grow back in that area, especially if you're scratching all the time. So it is like I wash my beard every 2 days, sometimes every day, every 2 days with our shampoo. It's got aloe vera in it. It's good for calming the irritation, keeps the dry skin away. But the reason I wash it so often is because I'm in the gym most days. So there's a lot of sweat builds up. And obviously you're eating as well. So there is food gets in there. It happens. And so, yeah, I wash every 2 days at least. And then the beard oil is a conditioner. It conditions the skin underneath, keeps it soft, keeps it moisturized, just like a skin moisturizer, but it also keeps the hair soft as well. And then I use a comb, which the comb is a detangling tool. And I use a brush as well, which separates the hairs, adds volume to the beard. And that's kind of it. We do have the beard butter, which is a styling product. You can use it to style my moustache to the side and things. Which keeps me from chewing on it. But there's so many products on the market. A lot of them are unnecessary. I think a beard shampoo is what you need, a beard oil for conditioning, and then the tools for detangling and adding volume. That's it, man. That's kind of it. I try not to push all these products. The products we sell are the products I use personally. That's the way it's always been from the start.
So, having been building a business for more than 10 years now in the physical products space, a lot of brands are like Amazon only, and some brands never go on Amazon to build their own e-commerce store. What's your been approach to dealing with? Am I going to sell just directly from my website? I'm going to sell through, I know when you sell through Amazon, sure, they handle the shipping, but also they take a large percentage of your profits. It can get even harder to compete. It's like a different game. What's been your approach to that part of the business, kind of the logistics and challenges of, you said you ship everything from your house. It gives you a lot of control, but it also means you have to do a lot more personal logistics. How do you handle all that as you grow your business?
Yeah, so yeah, I actually have an office. I've got an office warehouse space. So we moved out of the house quite a few years ago, and I actually just moved into this new place. We had another office last month, which we were in for 6 years, and then just moved into this new one. But it is that thing. We do have a presence on Amazon, but I try and direct everybody to our website. Everything that goes from Amazon comes from me anyway. I'm not fulfilled by Amazon. I prefer to send it from here. again, it's just the personal touch. There are a lot of companies got in touch saying they want to do drop shipping or they want to sell it through their online website. I prefer our online presence and online sales to come from my website. Just it feels more personal. It's more personal brand. If you go on our social media, it's my face. It's everywhere. It's me doing the social media. I'm trying to build a personal brand as well as a beard care brand. And I just feel once you start dipping into other websites, yeah, you may make more money, but you lose control of the brand slightly. That's my feeling on it at the moment. But we still are considered a small business, small brand. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
So what are some of the big challenges over the last 10 years that like things you've learned now that you wish you knew earlier? Like if you go back in time and teach yourself a few other things at the beginning, what are some of those things that you think are the biggest lessons you've learned and wish you'd learned them a little earlier?
To get out of my own way, I guess that was the best bit of advice I was ever given, was get out of my own way. And when I say that, I mean for being present on social media, I was always so Braw Beard got a little bit of fame, a little bit of fame. It was well known in its early days, which like, it added to the story of Braw Beard. Like, there was a couple of people got involved with Braw, became customers. So Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, he became a fan of the brand, and the newspapers got hold of that, and it accelerated the brand faster than I was expecting. And I guess there was a bit of an ego that came with it as well on my part, just young, naive. I didn't realize there was a lot more to business, and I don't know. There was a lot of people knew about the brand just because of Fred and the media, and then that started to wear off. And I was a shy person at school. I was too nervous to get on camera and things. Like I would never have done this 10 years ago, sitting chatting to you, someone I've never met before. But the best bit of advice I was ever given was get out of your own way. It's not about me. It's about the business, about the brand. So that's what I've done. There was one day, 2017 in December. I just opened up my camera and just started vlogging. I just started talking to my camera. I thought, I don't care if one person sees it or 100 people see it. I'm just going to talk to this camera, tell the story about my day and how the business is going. And that's what I've done. And the vlog's been going. I just finished episode 317, I think, last week. And it's honestly, that's been a game changer, is telling the story, telling the more personal side to the brand. And I wish I knew that at the start, because I could have told the story from the start.
You brought up something that's, I think, really important to dial in, because a lot of people, they think, oh, I want to form a brand and become impersonal, right? And that's when if there's not you, then it's really hard to explain how you differentiate from other brands that are making a similar product, right? And it's like very important. A lot of entrepreneurs are thinking about, well, one day I want to be able to exit, or I want to create a brand. And it's very interesting to me. And then there was a phase where everyone's trying to create a personal brand, right? And it's like, well, your personal brand and your business brand, they're the same. You're not, until you're a multi-billion-dollar company, they're going to be the same thing. Yeah. It's so hard to separate those two things, and you don't really need to. And so it's so important for people that are, as they're starting their business, to realize that what makes you different is if people like you. Like that's the critical part. That and people, my audience, why do they follow me? I'm not the only person. Nothing I teach is unique, right? Nothing I do is 100% unique. There's other people that teach you how to build an online business. There's other podcasts. So why do you listen to one show or the other? Why do you follow someone else? It's who you like. That's how we choose. Like what TV shows do we watch? The ones we like, right? Not just the ones with the best education. Like sometimes we'll watch a show that's a little less educational because it's more fun or we like the person. And so it's cool that you dialed into that. I think that's a really good lesson for people listening, to remember that sometimes you do have to go a little bit outside your comfort zone to let people get to know you. And it can make a really big difference, because then they can go, well, what are you buying? Well, I'm buying from John Jackson. I like the guy, right? And that's how you can, and when they go, well, but it costs more money, they go, yeah, but he makes it in his house. Now they can create that justification for the higher price, because then it starts to make sense, because it's like, do you want something that was made in a factory in the middle of nowhere that mixes ingredients, you don't know what's happening, or something that's made at a house where the guy who makes it is like brewing it like over a cauldron, right? And it creates an image. So I think that's a really cool thing. And the fact that you're still doing it all these years later, that's a lot of consistency. So as you started to get your face out there and create a presence, one of the things that interests me, and one of the challenges when you become the face of your brand, is that you can never shave your beard. Like you have to always have a beard. Do you, like, if you ever go like a little bit shorter, do you get a ton of messages on social media? People are like, what's happening? I noticed it's shorter today. Do people get worried?
Well, I've never actually trimmed it shorter. I just keep it going. I trim the edges just to neaten it up and stuff. But I've never trimmed it down. But I have used on social media, I have used images from a few years ago sometimes where you're struggling for ideas and you think, right, throw back to whatever. And people see the image, but they don't actually read the caption. And then you get some messages like, what have you done? Have you shaved it? Well, you've trimmed it back. But yeah, that is the thing. I'm lucky I've had facial hair since I could grow it, since I was 15, variations of it. So luckily my wife's used to it. My son is now used to it as well. He's 3 years old, so he's always seen me with a beard. And then he sees photos from years ago when I had a short beard when I was racing and stuff, and he's like, "That's not daddy." So I am stuck with the beard, but I like it. I genuinely like it as part of my identity. It always has been. I enjoy it. Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. If I go to the gym, I'm in the gym most days. I just tie it up, keeps it out of the way. So yeah, I'm lucky that the life I live allows me to have a beard this long.
Yeah, that's really interesting is that we live in a world now where you can create like your own idea, your own business, and live the life you way you want, like do the things you want during the day. I never have to leave my house, which is like everything I want to do is here. My kids are here. I don't have to go out. We have a pool, which is so lucky. We just have this amazing life, but it gives you a lot more freedom, which is, I think, a value that we sometimes forget is that, oh, I can just go to the gym when I want. Because I don't own any suits. I couldn't do like a suit job. I wouldn't like getting up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time, like having someone else tell me what to do when I do is like something I just could never go back to having a boss. Like I just wouldn't be able to do it. Even when some of my friends have reached out to me with really big opportunities, I'm like, yeah, but I would still report to you, right? And I'm like, I'm not able to do that. Like go to a meeting at a certain time, wear a certain outfit, all of that stuff. Like I own one shirt. If you watch my videos, I own this shirt. I own 100 of the exact same shirt. They all cost $2. Sometimes my wife comes in instead of black, there's 10 dark blue ones, and that's it. It's all the same shirt that I have. And you can't do that. Like it's like you I remember when I grew up, you would watch in a cartoon, they would always show Inspector Gadget who has 10 of the same outfit. And I've become that. Like the guy who just has because it doesn't matter what I wear. I've got 4 kids, they don't care. And there is that value of freedom that a lot of people don't realize until you see it, that it's really exciting. It's really cool that you've able to basically take something you're really passionate about, turn it into business, help you start to grow and have that level of freedom. And I know you've also transitioned now that you've got the business and it's humming along nicely. You've also transitioned into helping other people figure out what they want to do, like helping people to establish their own type of confidence or figure out what they want to do as far as their mindset, as far as handling their fitness, which is something that is really near and dear to me. I've been doing a lot of content about fitness lately and talking a lot about it because there's this idea. I don't know if it's the same where you live, but in America, there's this idea that you have to sacrifice either your family or your body to grow a business, right? Either you have to have kids who don't know you and hate you, wife divorces you, or you have to just have unbelievably bad health in order to grow a business. And there's this belief that the worse you suffer along the way, the more you deserve the reward at the end. I don't know where we got this idea. I would rather build a business that I enjoy the whole time. I don't want to suffer my way to the top, but it's really interesting that you're diving into that because it is challenging for me. Like health has always been my slowest category. You know, married, I've got 4 kids. That's coming along. That's going great. The business is growing. That's doing good. But it's hard to sit at the computer all day and not eat. There's this connection, like when you're sitting at the computer eating bad snacks, and it's really hard to break bad habits. And like I'm drinking fruit tea. Like I wish I was drinking something cool, like, but I can't drink anything else. I used to drink hot chocolate, so I wish I was drinking. But it just at least once I hit 40, my body turned against me. I started getting a lot of weird injuries. Like I ripped an ab at the gym. I didn't even know that was a thing. All sorts of stuff happens to your body. And so you really have to be more serious about your health and kind of make it an important part of your life. And I'm on really much more strict with what I eat. If I eat the wrong thing, I can put on 2 kilos in an afternoon. It's like, and it will take me a month to knock it back off. So it's very important, I think, especially earlier. I wish earlier I'd known it was possible to maintain the same things where you can have success in all of the different areas instead of just focusing on one and sacrificing the other. So I'd love to know how you've transitioned in helping other people to take a little bit more control of their destiny.
That's it, man. It's spot on what you're saying. You know, there is this kind of notion that you need to sacrifice your family or your lifestyle in order to grow a business. And it's like my business isn't a multi-million pound, multi-million dollar business, but it's sizable. But I've stuck with splitting up into 3. So morning is for the gym lifestyle, afternoon is for business, evening is for family. and it's served me well, you know. But yeah, so over 10 years I've built this business, Braw Beard. Before then, I was a qualified personal trainer. I was really into fitness. I've been into sports all my life. So I got the qualification as a personal trainer just as a side hobby, really. So I can build programs for people, fitness programs, and I've learned how to intertwine that into business, building a community as well, and raising a family. And I've just finished a 4-year business degree at university, something that I signed up for in 2019 when it was offered to me here. I was offered a place, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Because I wanted to learn the subjects in more depth, like marketing in more depth, finance in more depth, law in more depth. And I thought, if I go to university, I'm going to learn that and get a degree at the end of it. If anything goes wrong with Braw Beard, I do have this business degree. So running Braw Beard, doing a 4-year degree, raising a family, still going to the gym, it is possible. It's just a case of how you spend your 24 hours. And I still get 8 hours sleep at night. It's just prioritizing your things. And I've learned how to be very, very productive, how to break up my day, time manage my day. So I'm helping other people do that. Yeah, we have this community called the Brawlerhood, where it's mainly guys that are in there. There are some women in there as well, but it's mainly guys. And the one thing I see coming up very often is mental health issues, people struggling. You know, things get on top of them, a bit of adversity gets on top of them, and they let it get to them, when in fact, a lot of the time, the things they're worrying about are superficial. So it's realizing how to manage that in your head. And a big part of that is getting in shape as well. It's feeling good. Once you feel good, your mind acts sharp, you respond sharp. And it depends on what nutrition you're putting in your body as well. If you're eating a lot of sugary foods, you get an adrenaline spike, you get a blood sugar spike and then a dump, and you feel lethargic after it. So yeah, it's moderating your food intake, your fitness, and I just think it makes you perform better, whether that's mentally or physically or in business.
I could always tell when someone's giving my kids candy because they turn into monsters. Like there's such a shift in personality if you're paying attention to it
Yeah.
when you have or don't have sugar in your diet. And it's so dramatic. It's so much of a difference in the kids. It's the same for me. And yeah, and I'm glad you brought up mental health because that's a big topic for me. I care a lot about it because it's something we don't talk about very much, especially for men. It's like when men go through something, you're supposed to tough it out no matter how bad it is. And I had to go to therapy last year because my family went through a traumatic incident where we almost all died. We all got to the hospital with hours to live, me and all of my kids. And it's like, I couldn't tough it out, right? Like you can't, everyone has a point and it's like, and I was like, oh, I better talk about that I went because a lot of people, maybe someone will hear and go, oh, maybe I can try it. Right. And it was actually from a podcast episode. Someone said something, you know what, I'm going to call a therapist tomorrow. I'll just do it because I got to get out of my own toughness because you can't show weakness in front of your kids, your wife. You got to be the stone. So there is a lot to be said for talking about it because even talking about it, it's so taboo for men as this issue where, yeah, some days you just feel really bad and you don't know what to do. And so I think it's great to mention it that there is this connection between mind and body. I can definitely tell if I don't work out for maybe 4 days, I start to get a little bit depressed. I start to sink down. And now every morning I get up at 5:45. Even on Saturdays when I have a day off, I still wake up at 5:44, even though the alarm's not going off. And I start every day. I do my workout because I will not, if I don't do it first thing in the day, it's not going to happen. Even if it's second, it's not going to happen. I've learned that about myself. Some people can work out after work. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine how you can switch to that mode. I got to do it first so it's done. And then I play guitar for 30 minutes to an hour. Got my morning habit. I got back into that. My kids started playing guitar and then of course they all quit, but I'm still playing. And then there's definitely a huge difference throughout the day for me as far as performance, as far as how I feel. It's just doing something that's for the body, something that's a little bit for the spirit, like something a little musical. Probably this late in life, I'm probably not going to become a rock star, but those things are all interconnected and it doesn't kill my day. I can spend a few minutes in the morning, right? Like it's maybe an hour and a half of the morning and then the rest of the day I get a ton of stuff done and I still feel fine throughout the day. I don't have that late afternoon lethargy. So I think that's a really cool thing to talk about is that you can do more with less. Like I've also started doing intermittent fasting. I only eat for 8 hours a day and I don't feel hungry the other 16. I never knew this was a thing. I was like, I used to be snacking all the time. And now because there's like a rule, I can be fastidious. And it's so surprising that you can have more and more control over your body, over your thoughts, over your life. Then it gives you this like, I don't know, I just have always wanted to have more control of myself, which is a kind of a definition of freedom. I can decide where I live, what I do, what my kids do. Like that's freedom and being free from letting food control you is a pretty cool feeling too.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of things you mentioned there. The fasting, I'd done that myself. I still do it, to be honest. The 16-8 rule. So stop eating at 9 p.m. Still have maybe a green tea before bed, and then don't eat until 1 p.m. after training. I usually train around lunchtime, just the way it works. I know. So yeah, I train at lunchtime, and then I have food after the gym. So, and that's just, I've just got into that routine. It just works for me now. It was horrible at the start, training fasted, but I got used to it. But the getting up at that time in the morning, getting up, that's a little win at that time. And the fact you're getting up before your alarm as well, that's a little win as well. It elevates your mood, picks you up, and you're getting your gym session done, another win. You're playing guitar, another win. It's just stacking wins before your day starts, even if it sets you off on a good foot. It's the way to do it rather than slop out of bed and think I need to go to work and just feel lethargic all day. You're actually getting stuff done and feeling good about yourself. It lifts your spirits for the rest of the day. That's what I find anyway as well. I'm the same. Get up early. I do 10 burpees in the morning, do a bit of reading, have a coffee, have a shower, play with my kid for a little bit, and then off to the gym.
Yeah, because you either stack good habits or you stack bad habits. And it's easy to, I go to a job I don't like, or my job is a struggle. So after work, I have more bad habits, right? We either go out, eat real bar food has got to be the worst for you food that exists. Like so unhealthy. It makes you feel sick. At least me, my body can't handle it. And then, or we watch, like, I used to watch so much television, and now I can't even finish. Like, my wife and I wanted to go see a movie recently. Now every movie is 3 hours long. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's a commitment. Like, to me, 3 hours is it's such a commitment. I'm not doing that. Star Wars was less than 90 minutes. You can do a great movie in less than 90 minutes. I know I sound like my dad, who my dad used to always fall asleep in the middle of a movie. Now I understand why. It's like, I can't be not doing something valuable for that long, right? If I'm going to a long movie, I want all the kids with me. So it's like we're doing something together, because my kids are only watching the movie half the time. The other half the time, they're choosing who sits next to me, who sits next to their mom. But there's this shift where your time starts to become more valuable when you want to use it efficiently and do things that you really like. And it's just either stack it one way or you stack it the other, because it's like how you end the day. Like, oh, I'm going to watch TV. Like, I used to watch TV for 6 hours as a kid. And now it's like, I struggle. Even when I'm doing stuff on the computer where I can have a TV show on, it takes me, like, for a 45-minute show, it's going to take me 12 hours to watch it, because I'm pausing it, watching it, get bored. I'm like, I'd rather just read the summary online. And it's like, the way you see the world shifts, and you start to see what's valuable and what you really want to be doing and what habits you have. And I do have some habits that aren't great. I do play some video games throughout the day, but not when the kids are here. I'm having a break. I'll play 10-minute game, do 2 hours of work, 10-minute game, 2 hours of work. But it's okay to have some things. It's not like I could never do, like, when I was a kid, you just start playing after school and it's time for school when you finish. I could never do 15-hour session. Like, that's I can't, it sound like, that's the thing. Things that as a kid were normal, now it sounds like crazy to me, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to play video games for 14 hours straight. And there is that thought when you say, oh, I play video games, people think that. It's like, no, maybe 2 hours a week across the whole week. And so it's that balance of knowing, oh, it's okay to have some things. And it's better to have that as going, oh, when I do good, I'll eat a cupcake. The old strategy.
That's the thing, man. It's good to have these little things. I play the Xbox as well, and it's a way of clearing my head. I feel sometimes you consume way too much information throughout the day, and it's just a good way of just switching off and just clearing your head a little bit. I like going for a walk as well. Again, it feels like an old man thing to say, but going for a walk, just clear your head, get out in fresh air. And then I also find that new ideas come to me as well, new business ideas when I'm out walking. So I like to do that. And that's the thing. It's weighing it up. It's understanding where your priorities lie, what's important in life, like you say, your business, your family, your health. And then after that, whatever spare time you've got, you just distribute it however you like to feel. I'm the same. Like, I like going to the cinema with as you're building a business and the family as well, you lose touch with some friends. Like, there's a guy I used to go mountain biking with every weekend. He's got kids now. I've got kids now. Life's drifted apart. We're now every month we agree that we're going to meet up and go to the cinema. But sometimes you're sitting there for a 3-hour movie thinking, I'd rather be having a coffee talking to you than sitting watching this movie. So it's picking priorities, isn't it?
Yeah, you just shift the way you view time. When you're in control of it, you're like, I want to be in control of all of it. I want to choose when I get up. I want to remove, because there's this. Do you remember this when you're like young and you spend like an hour choosing what to wear? Like, which shirt should I wear? Which of my favorite band shirts am I wear? All of that stuff. That's why I only have one shirt. It's removed that decision from the day. It's like, I know what I'm going to wear because there's only one choice. And I just had right before this call, a huge meeting with my wife in the closet because we hired someone new who's been organizing. I go, where do all these shorts go? Every pair of shorts that I don't wear anymore, is I have a whole huge thing about which is my favorite shorts right now. Whole thing. Like, it's a massive part of my life. I'm like, these shorts are out. These new shorts are in. I bought 10 pairs of these. Like, again, once I like something, I should buy a bunch. I want to think about it. Like, these shorts, I don't know I haven't worn these in 4 years, 3 years. I don't know where these came from. We got to remove them all from the closet because I want to remove where I'm like picking up 10 pairs of shorts to find the ones I want. Let's just get rid of the ones I don't want. And it simplifies. And because I would rather spend the time playing with my kids or doing other things. And it's okay exactly to have some stuff you do that's meaningless and relaxing your mind and having that shift and making decisions how you're going to work. Like my dad, I'll never forget this because this is when you have a problem. My dad was like, look, you shouldn't work more than 6.5 days a week. I was like, that's when you know you're second generation workaholic, when it's like, and I was like, and he's like, you should take off at least 4 hours a week. But I don't work like other people. So I do work 7 days a week, but I work much shorter hours because I would rather do that. I'd rather split the 40 hours or like 35 hours across 7 days than across 5. And that's just one of those decisions you could only make when you work for yourself, because I like what I do. And I think that's the craziest part of it, is that I'm having a good time right now. I was really looking forward to talking to you. I'm very fascinated by like rugged man brands and like that process of kind of carving out a space, because I think it's really important. And I get to do that, right? We get to do the things we like. We get to do things we're passionate about. And that's like an amazing thing. So it's really exciting. This has been a really cool conversation. I know your time is very valuable. We went longer than I was planning because we caught a new group, which is awesome. Where can people connect with you? Where can they find if they want to jazz up their beard, and where can they learn more about if maybe they're a good fit to be part of this next endeavor where they can learn about your coaching process and how you're helping people to get to that next level?
Sure, thank you. I appreciate you giving me the platform to share this. But the best place at the moment is probably Instagram. It's at Braw Beard Oils. So at the moment I'm transitioning the mindset stuff in there as well. So that's the best place to get a bit of both the beard care and the mindset. I'm sharing both on that page, just at Braw Beard Oils on Instagram or Facebook, Braw Beard Oils, and the YouTube channel is just Braw Beard. It'll be this logo that pops up, and on there we've got beard care tutorials. I've got my vlog that I share, the weekly vlog. There's short entertaining videos go up there as well. So a bit of lifestyle in there and a bit of beard care tutorials. But YouTube, Facebook and Instagram are the main ones at the moment. And then we've got the website for anybody who wants to purchase products, just brawbeardoils.com. And all the merchandise and products are available there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This has been an awesome episode. I'll make sure to put those links in the show notes and below the video. Thank you so much for being here for today's episode.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Starting your blog is an amazing step. Now it's time to get your first 100 raving fans as quickly as possible. Let me show you the shortcut to this milestone with my free guide at servemaster.com/100. That's /100.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Serve No Master podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back next week with more tips and tactics on how to escape the rat race. Please take a moment to leave a review at servenomaster.com/iTunes. It helps the show grow, and more listeners means more content for you. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.